What if Earth stopped spinning? Eternal day versus eternal night. What if the world stopped moving beneath your feet? No wind, no sunset, no nightfall, just a terrifying stillness. In this video, we uncover what would happen if Earth suddenly stopped spinning. The answer isn't just catastrophic, it's the apocalypse no one escapes. Imagine waking up to a silent world. No sunrise, no clouds drifting, no winds whispering. If Earth suddenly stopped spinning, the atmosphere wouldn't stop with it. It would whip across the surface at over 1,000 miles per hour, hurling buildings, forests, and oceans into a global maelstrom. In the aftermath, the planet would choke beneath towering clouds of ash and flame. The atmosphere, flung into chaos, would take weeks to settle, blotting out the sky and drowning the world in a suffocating twilight of dust and destruction. Gravity, no longer balanced by centrifugal force, would shift its grip. Oceans would rush toward the poles, submerging Antarctica and the Arctic, while the equator would become a barren, cracked wasteland where seas once lived. Earth would become a planet of two extremes, one hemisphere locked in eternal, blistering daylight with temperatures soaring to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, the other plunged into endless night, a frozen abyss at minus 150 degrees Fahrenheit. There would be no dawn, no dusk, just a merciless split between fire and ice. Without rotation, the churning of Earth's molten core would cease. The magnetic field, our invisible shield, would collapse. Cosmic radiation from space would rain down unfiltered, frying electronics and mutating every form of life it touches. Weather systems, once orchestrated by rotation, would fall apart. The familiar dance of seasons, monsoons, and trade winds would vanish. In their place, monstrous hypercanes would form along the narrow border between day and night, feeding off the energy imbalance. On the day side, the sun would never set. It would blaze from a fixed point in the sky, baking the ground into molten glass. On the night side, temperatures would plummet, and the atmosphere could condense into liquid and snow, raining nitrogen from the sky. Life would unravel at every level. On the sunlit side, plants would wither under unrelenting radiation. On the dark side, photosynthesis would halt entirely. Ecosystems would collapse. Animals would perish. Food chains would dissolve in days. The oceans wouldn't just move, they'd migrate. Water would slosh violently toward the poles, submerging cities and forming new inland seas, while the equator would rise as water drains away, revealing ancient seafloors and hidden mountain ranges. Without rotational momentum, the Earth's crust would groan under stress. Tectonic plates would fracture. Mega-earthquakes would ripple through continents, while volcanoes worldwide would erupt, their ash clouds further choking the dying sky. The Terminator line, the narrow zone between eternal day and endless night, would become humanity's last stand. Here, temperatures might remain survivable, but barely. Storms would rage unpredictably, and survival would be a brutal race against time. Water would vanish in stages. On the day side, lakes and rivers would boil dry. On the night side, they'd freeze solid into glacial tombs. Earth's remaining freshwater would be trapped, unreachable, on a broken and divided world. The Coriolis effect, once guiding winds and currents, would disappear. Air would stagnate. Toxic gases like CO2 would build on the hot side. On the cold side, oxygen levels would plummet, and the air itself might freeze. Breathing would become a luxury. With Earth's surface torn apart, survivors would flee to geothermal vents, ice caves, or anything remotely stable. But resources would vanish fast. Caves become fortresses, water a currency. Wars erupt, not for power, but for warmth, food, and breath. Systems collapse. Solar panels on the day side melt under unrelenting sunlight. Nuclear reactors freeze and fracture on the night side. The grid falls silent. Darkness becomes the new normal, and firelight the last echo of civilization. Without sunrise or sunset, the rhythm of life dissolves. Circadian clocks break. People lose track of time. Insomnia, hallucinations, and madness follow. Order crumbles, not from war, but from sleepless despair. Earth's atmosphere, now unprotected by a magnetic field, begins to bleed away. Over centuries, solar wind would strip it layer by layer, leaving Earth gasping, until it becomes a barren husk like Mars. In desperation, rockets launch from the Terminator zone, aiming for orbiting colonies or distant moons. But with infrastructure ruined and fuel scarce, most missions end in failure, burning wreckage falling back to a world that can no longer save itself. Biodiversity crashes. Surface life dies out almost entirely. Perhaps only deep-sea organisms near hydrothermal vents would survive, clinging to warmth and darkness as the last pulse of biological life. Without tides or currents, the oceans turn into stagnant, lifeless pools. Algae die, oxygen production stops, marine ecosystems suffocate. The seas become anoxic, vast, still graveyards of once living oceans. Earth's axis straightens without the stabilizing force of rotation. No more tilt means no seasons, just unchanging, punishing extremes of heat and cold. The planet loses its breath and its heartbeat. To survive, humanity would be forced to mutate. Bioengineered crops resistant to UV radiation. Artificial lungs pumping synthesized oxygen. Climate suits shielding against searing heat or lethal cold. Evolution accelerates, but grotesquely. On the night side, the stars never move. The Milky Way glows brighter than ever. But no one marvels, because cosmic rays, once deflected, now pierce skin, burn eyes, and destroy DNA. Beauty turns deadly. Geothermal energy becomes the last salvation. Volcanic hotspots in the twilight zone power isolated human outposts. But volcanoes are volatile. One eruption, and entire communities vanish into fire and ash. The moon, no longer stabilized by Earth's spin, begins to drift. Tidal forces weaken. Its orbit wobbles. One day, it may escape entirely, a ghost moon wandering space, leaving Earth even more unstable. The planet itself reshapes. The sunlit crust expands and warps from constant heat. The frozen hemisphere contracts, forming twisted ice labyrinths. Earth warps into a cracked, divided shell of its former self. Humanity's last hope lies buried beneath the ground. Vaults of seeds, DNA, and digital memories sealed in steel, waiting for a world that may never return. Not for future generations, but for alien archaeologists, perhaps eons from now. Could this really happen? Some scientists warn that a rogue planet or asteroid could theoretically halt Earth's spin. But more realistically, our rotation is only slowing, gradually, over billions of years. Even so, angular momentum protects us for now. Earth spins thanks to the laws of physics, and will continue to do so until the sun expands and engulfs us, 5 billion years from now. But this what if exposes how fragile our world truly is. We often take motion for granted, yet it's this invisible spin that gives us days, nights, seasons, and life itself. Without it, Earth isn't a home, it's a death sentence, a silent, motionless tomb in space. Still, nature has a strange resilience. Even in an apocalypse, life tries to endure. Bacteria in ice, algae in caves, maybe somewhere, in the deepest crevice, life would hold on, waiting for Earth's next chapter. A future species might someday uncover our ruins. They'll ask, what happened here? And perhaps find clues in frozen cities, melted monuments, or vaults whispering the story of a world that once spun. And what of us, those who dream of space, of futures beyond Earth? Let this be a reminder, we're not untouchable. Our greatest threat might not come from the stars, but from the physics we take for granted. Every sunrise you see isn't just a beginning, it's a miracle of motion, a silent, cosmic ballet that keeps us alive. One pause, one glitch in that rhythm, and everything we know collapses. So cherish the spin, because in this dance of the cosmos, the Earth's rotation is not just a feature, it's our lifeline. And every moment we move is a moment we survive. The next time you feel the breeze or watch the sunset, remember, it's all possible because the Earth keeps spinning. This isn't just a planet, it's a miracle in motion.